You are going to look at all the situation and be disillusioned and then be tempted to, seeing as you're looking at this person that you feel like is juicing you, plundering you, using your body parts for scraps, seeing as that's what you feel like, you're basically being stripped like a stolen car for your parts to be put in other cars. That's what you feel like under certain people, right? You have felt that way at MTN. Like, I properly felt like I was scraps, yo. I was being used, and for years I was being used until ultimately somebody decided that, okay, this here is not a scrap yard. We are not putting apart the exhaust there and the engine there and the tires there for them to go to different cars. This is one big, fat, chunky, beautiful new car that's gotta be driven in this environment, and I'll take it. When you feel like you are scraps being used for parts, you are going to not give your all, because you are going to know that somebody is using you, abusing you. You're going to know that somebody is plundering you, looting you, using your cheek for booty, like as in plunder, right? You are going to know that, and as a result, drop the ball. The Lord said that in the word, there's a scripture that says that you must always pray for those who despitefully use you. You must pray for them. Don't curse. You must pray. You must pray for them, and not only pray for them, trust God. It is written in his word that trust the Lord, lean not on your own understanding. In all of your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. You don't know who's looking, guys. Some of the people that look at you are looking at you like a hawk from the sky. They're looking at you through surveillance, Sankudra. They're looking at you from a distance. They're hearing about you through conversations and with colleagues. For instance, I'll give you an example. There was once a time, I was already a project manager at this particular juncture, right? And I was having such a hard time with the boss that I now had. Remember, the guy that interviewed me never ended up being my boss. I would have been happier in his department, but I was given to somebody else, a woman, right? And this lady was the bane of my existence. Once I got born again, I remember one time after an appraisal, literally crying over Psalm 37, that little Bible of mine. The pages were crinkled up because tears were rolling down onto them because of how poorly she appraised me, despite having put me in a position to train up a brand spanking new project manager that started working for a team. And then you give me a bad appraisal score when you chose me to train her. It evidences that you trusted me enough, and yet you gave me this bad score. I was crying. This boss was like the bane of my existence. Okay, anyway, whatever. During the time when I was underneath this woman, feeling like I'm not that good, like maybe I was way in over my head. Remember, prior to me being a project manager, I thought I could take them. Like, there are some project managers that I was administrating under that I thought I could just take them. I could take her like proper. I felt like I was better than them. If at all I was given the job, I would be better at my job than them. So here it is that now I was one, and I was apparently not that good. And this woman was trying to make me feel like that's a thing. Guys, children of God are targeted in corporate. Children of God are targeted in corporate. Like, I can't say like they. I did a video yesterday speaking about how it is that a time is coming when we are going to be disenfranchised, like as in Bazos Tatela, they're going to take our jobs away, our careers, they're going to take our money, our ability to buy beautiful homes and beautiful cars. It's just going to be sapped from out of us. But then this place is not our home, so we must not latch onto it for dear life, like latching onto a tree during a hurricane or a volcano. Just let go. Let the wind of Jesus Christ just take you home. Like, yeah, don't latch onto this earth, but work hard while you're on it. Okay, fill the earth and occupy it. That's what you need to do. Christians are targeted. Here is this woman. I'm out here chilling. I'm her project manager. It's clear that she trusts me because she's out here making me train new PMs. And then she gives me bad appraisal scores. I'm feeling flat. I'm thinking all these PMs that I thought I could take back when I was still a coordinator, I was way in over my head. I was arrogant. That's what I was. I was arrogant. I was lost in the world. For me to say I can take you, come on, that's not the way that you speak as a Christian. But I wasn't saved before then, so of course I spoke such things as those, like I can take them. Whatever. Nonetheless, I was now made to feel so lowly. I was made to feel like I wasn't good at what I did. Like I sucked, like I was the worst project manager in the team. Strangely, you're using your worst PM to train your new PMs. I find that odd. Anyway, whatever. Cool beans and bananas. And I am at the turnstiles about to exit, going home, right? At the end of the day. And this one colored project manager guy that works for our grander overall department, but a different team, literally so different it was that it was in another wing of the building. He worked in group. We worked in there were two campuses, man, like west and east, almost like this university. There was like a west wing and I forgot even what it was called, like M10. It was just so long ago, and it broke my heart so much that I don't even care to remember much. But he worked on the opposite side of the building, and we worked on the opposite side of the building. It's almost like they worked for group, but rather they were also still part of SA. This dude, I never worked with him at all. Okay, he was a project manager, however, but for another wing of a department, however, still under our overarching department, if you understand what I'm saying. I bump into this dude, let's say his name was Eben, okay, colored dude. I bump into him and I'm like, hi Eben, and I'm all tired, I'm going home, I'm feeling down and out, I'm feeling sad and broken because why my boss be out there giving me bad appraisal scores? I suck. And I at some point thought that I was so good that I could take some PMs, and now that I'm one, I'm in a desert and it's dry and my appraisal scores suck, like so I'm out like a light, okay. Bump into Eben at the turnstiles as we are exiting going home. I bump into Eben at the turnstile about to go home, and he's like, Karabo, how you doing, man? And I'm like, hi Eben, hi, good, I'm good, how are you, Eben? Right? And he's like, I'm good. Yo, Karabo, you know, people are underestimating this one. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, people underestimate, people. I'm like, speak, brother, speak, preach. What do you mean? And he's like, yo, I was in a meeting with these executive people, and they were talking about how you are doing so well. They really like how it is that you're delivering. You know, people can really underestimate people until they show you flame. I was like, for real? Like, you were sitting in some meeting with some big head honchos that are our bosses, all of us, and they were like singing praises to my name. My boss don't got anything good to say about a sister, bro. Like, what are you talking? He's like, hey, people like what you do, Karabo, and people are noticing because somebody went and spoke about you, and they couldn't help but just keep singing praises. But I was like, hey, here it is, and I'm actually getting a crazy appraisal score from my boss. And someone that was sitting in some big chunky meeting overheard some big chunky people speaking about how it is that this project manager, that's who I'm filling. I was like, you have no, like, that dude had no clue. He had no idea how much he basically gave me confidence again. He boosted me. He juved me. He pulled that, you know, like with an engine that you're starting, vroom, vroom, he pulled it and it started. Like, I was out. I was flat on the floor, like flat bread. And this dude energized me. He energized me and made me realize that my boss lady was crazy. And she was, again, a hoarder. She was hoarding me. She was sabotaging me. She was making sure that nobody sees me for what I am. And therefore, giving the wrong impression of me. But I don't work in isolation with this woman. I have other colleagues with whom I work, and some of them were happy to make it evident that this here is a really great resource for us, and we are grateful for her. And one of my colleagues caught wind of this and told me as we were leaving the office, and it made me feel better. You don't know who is looking at you. And again, when this Eben guy was telling me this, he did not give me names as to who was speaking such haughty things about me, but he was basically making it clear that don't underestimate people. We underestimated you. We looked at you from a distance and were like, what, you're just some coordinator. And then you become a project manager, and all of a sudden these are the praises that are being sung about you in certain spaces. Like, keep up the good work. You're being noticed, right? Somewhere else, people were sabotaging the living daylights out of me. But elsewhere, others who were not so menacing in their hearts did better by me. So it did not matter that my boss gave me bad appraisal scores. And it also did not matter that she was saying that I was not that great a project manager to her boss, who was my boss by... Her boss was my boss by association. You get my point. Like, he's the bigger boss than the main boss type thing. And so when you're busy telling the boss of my boss that I suck, you're saying to this man that out of the 5 project managers or the 7 project managers that this woman has, there's a rotten apple, and this rotten apple is Karabo. Like, that's what my boss was doing, and my boss's boss was taking this in his stride. But it does not matter even when you have got somebody lying to someone that you cannot afford to have your reputation tarnished in the eyes of. Like, I could not afford for my boss's boss to look at me like that, like something that was just not pulling its weight in the overall teams that we were working in, because my boss's boss is as good as my boss. I want him to see me and look upon me with favor. But this woman, chose not to acknowledge my name, and my boss's boss looked at me like I was not that good. But it does not matter. Why? Because my boss's boss was not the only person looking at me. Neither was my boss the only person looking at me, and neither was my boss the only person willing to say anything about me. There were others that I worked with that were willing to basically funnel different information to different portions of the department or the organization that was different from what it is that my boss's boss heard. So even what I'm trying to explain here is that even if you don't get acknowledgement from within your own department or your own boss or your own boss's boss, even if people right above you in your line don't care to acknowledge who you are, you could be getting seen by people laterally on the periphery elsewhere that care to acknowledge your success. So don't be scared of saboteurs. That's what I'm getting at. People who speak smack about you, ningabasabi, because you very rarely, when you are working for an organization, are only ever working with those who sabotage you. With just 5 or 10 people, you tend to touch so many people, and some of them will acknowledge that which others are not prepared to acknowledge. So don't fret in front when you are in a desert land with people that are nothing but saboteurs or naysayers or hoarders. And don't also be nervous when those naysayers are literally thwarting you by lying on your appraisal, because there are others who have different praises to sing about you that you touch. And one day, you not only will catch wind of the fact that you're not that bad at what you do, but you will also be enabled by a promotion by a completely different person. And this will be the thing that will put pie on your face. That actually did happen with this boss lady. After a restructure happened, right? She had to unfortunately be demoted to a project manager. That happened across many people, right? So her demotion was not based on her lack of performance. It was just a company restructure. They were flattening the structure, getting rid of one layer that was program management. And that was unfortunate because it also affected the gentleman who gave me the promotion, right? Once they flattened the structure, they then gave us one boss above it. That was a senior manager. And this senior manager, as soon as he started his job, immediately gave me acknowledgement and exalted me to position of program manager. For 2 years, I was under this program manager lady, and she was actually giving me whack appraisal scores. And then a new guy comes into, like, it was always new guys. A new guy comes into the picture and immediately bumps me to program manager because of having worked with me for 5 seconds. Disproving, therefore, the crazy of this woman. So when you are kept in a dry little patchy desert, do not fear. The Lord is the one that emotions company restructures. He's the one that brings people from different places to see you. He's the one that causes a company to sign a contract with your company, the boss of which decides to snatch you, steal you, headhunt you from that particular organization. And now all of a sudden you're acknowledged. Do not be scared of people that want to keep you in a grain. That's what I'm getting at. Because you don't know what God is doing. When I just keep working, that people out there in the wilderness might acknowledge that which others are not prepared to acknowledge. That's just the way that this whole structure or system works. When I was working at Kijima, that internship, you will remember where I mentioned it, where it is that I was a project manager intern. Hey, my goodness, there was a girl that was a project manager there, and she was given me, I was shadowing her. She was my trainer. She was the person, like, you know, when you are an intern, there will be somebody that they make you follow around all over the show. Yeah, she was the one that I was following around. She was assigned to me. Yeah, guys. Yes, like it. Yeah, man. Sabotage. Sabotage. Ria sabotage. Na, Ria morata. She was all about that sabotage business, but I never would have been able to know. First and foremost, she was at my interview. And at the interview, she sat there with this like bright-eyed and beautiful face, bushy-tailed, like she was so excited. She looked happy that I was about to come on board. I was interviewed by her and what would be our departmental boss guy. And both of them were out here with smiles from here to Timbuktu, looking like the Joker at the interview, happy to bring me on board. And she was like, I'm going to do everything in my power to train her up, that she might be made fit for purpose and grow as a project manager in our organization. I'm glad that I'm going to be taking this young lady under my wing. I wasn't even a young lady under her wing. The two of us were the same age. We were both born in 1984. I was so happy that I had somebody that was going to be training me up, seeing as I was a new intern in the company, that loved me, and also my boss guy liked me. Everybody, I was just happy. I then start working for the company, guys, and this chick is like excited on the first day. Karabo, welcome. Okay, go to induction, this and that. I follow her everywhere. Her projects as she's doing them. I drive with her to her clients, and this chick, I'm basically shadowing her. I'm learning the ropes from her. And I'm thinking, well, good. I'm basically her administrator too. I'm doing her minutes. I am there like a bear. But remember, you never ever work in isolation with a person. So I not only worked with this chick, but I worked with this one dude that was a boss guy developer, and a lady that was a very senior business analyst. The three of us were always working together in whatever projects that we were doing, right? This senior business analyst woman was always working this chick's projects, and this developer guy, who was also a boss guy, was always behind either availing the resources for the coding, or in and of himself he was coding, right, for the project. I was working with these people, and I would travel all over the show with all of them at different times. So sometimes I was traveling with the chick that was given me to train me as a not a co-project manager. She was the project manager that was to raise me up in the position to become a PM one day, maybe when they decide to make me permanent. And then there were all these other people. Sometimes the boss guy developer and the senior business analyst took me to meetings by themselves. Like we would travel, like literally even out of the province to like Northwest and Mpumalanga with me. But this chick would stay in Johannesburg because she had her own projects to do. So I was basically shadowing everybody. I was shadowing the developer, I was shadowing the business analyst, and I was shadowing the project manager. So they all were sort of kind of my bosses, you know, at the time. The business analyst, senior BA, and the coding guru boss dude developer had my back in a way that this chick didn't, right? Hey Bachong, my boss guy, the departmental head, a white man, went from smiles every day, hello, let's say his name was Pete. Hi Pete, how are you? Pete went from good morning Karabo, how are you doing, how's things going, to hi, yo. I started getting so much shade from Pete. Pete started giving me so much attitude, and I didn't understand why Pete stopped liking me. Why he stopped smiling from ear to ear every time he saw me. Why he stopped being proud of me. Like I remember at induction, his smile was so big when I was introducing myself. It's like he was proud that he had brought me on board. He loved me at the interview. Sure, guys, Pete went ice cold. You as cold as ice. He went ice cold on me. And I was like, I don't even know why Pete is acting this way, but he's the departmental head, and frankly, he's the one that vetoes whether or not I get hired permanently. He is the person that decides if I'm going to become a project manager one day. It's almost as if though Pete was just writing out my contract so he could get rid of me. The way that he changed on me, I was sad. And I did not know what caused this. Did not know what in the world was causing Pete to change on me overnight like the weather. Had no clue, okay? Here it is that Pete has changed on me, and I'm just taking it in my stride. Now every day I'm just going to work and just feel like it's a drag. Everybody underestimates me. Like it was not just Pete that stopped being all chummy with me, but the other bosses, like the heads of the different departments, you know, at meetings. Like it's like they overlooked me. Like they wouldn't even listen to what I said. One time I did a PowerPoint presentation, and the lady that ran the department literally went and told somebody that she believes that I stole that presentation, that somebody else did it, and then I just came and parroted it. She refused to acknowledge or believe that I did that work myself because I was presented to them all as so lackluster, as so whack, that there's no way that I could have done that presentation myself. She literally accused me of parroting work, pirating it, plagiarism essentially, taking somebody else's work and making it my own, because she could not conclude that I did that because of the quality of the presentation. That is what happened. Like proper. It's almost like magical realism, like the story of Pablo Escobar. The way that people refused to acknowledge any good thing that I did in that company. It was weird. It was the stuff of witchcraft. Okay? Until finally one day I understand why Kholeso. That's actually why I left Gijima. Remember, I took a demotion and ended up working as a coordinator at MTN. One of the biggest reasons why I allowed myself to leave instead of insisting on sticking around in that place, yes, there was also restructure and whatnot. It was because already a bad taste had been created in people's mouths about me, and I did not want to stay in an environment like that, because literally, you know, it's written in God's word that a good reputation is precious like silver and gold. This chick destroyed my reputation. This bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like chummy girl that was basically excited, to train me up. One day, the business analyst and the coding guru guy, like when we were traveling, their hearts softened towards me. They developed a liking towards me. One day when we were traveling to a site, we used to travel to Northwest and whatnot, Mpumalanga, long trips, long drives. They decided to let me know. They were like, Yazi Karabo, I'd like you proper need to understand what's going on right now. But let's say this chick's name was Kagiso, right? Yeah. Let's say her name was Kagiso. This guy was like, these people, this girl, it was a woman and a man. They were like, Kagiso is sabotaging you. Like she keeps on telling Pete that you are horrible. She does not know what to do with herself. She is trying everything in her power, but you're just not catching on. You are slow to grasp basic concepts. Yo, guys, Ukagiso told Pete that I am slow to grasp basic concepts, that I can't. But the previous job that I did was at Nedbank, and I was a trainer. I was a facilitator for the banks. I was put in a position to teach people how to do their jobs. And this chick said that I couldn't grasp basic principles, having been an entire training facilitator before. Ingati mina angwazi 1 + 1 = 2. She made me come off as so lackluster, basically making Nedbank look like an irresponsible company to let me stand in front of delegates and train them. Because how in the world was she able to stand in front of delegates and train? Like, just by mere virtue of being the thing that I was in my previous employment, ought to have made that boss lady chick woman that thought that I stole the PowerPoint presentation from somebody else realize that she's mistaken, because I was a trainer. That's why I'm able to stand in a room in front of people and present with all this eloquence and all this efficacy of delivery, what it is that is on the PowerPoint. I'm able to do that because I was, like I said, a whole trainer, a person put in a position to impart knowledge to people and upskill them in their jobs. That's what I used to do. So of course I can slay a PowerPoint. I never would have been hired in the capacity of a trainer if I was not eloquent, able to, impart knowledge, share skills and upskill. Like, if I could not do that, why would I have been made a trainer? Like, Papa, why would somebody take a risk, go out on a limb and to just put some lackluster, ineffective person in front of people that have to go back on the job and do their jobs? Hey, guys, this chick went and told my boss that I ain't jack and that I am struggling to grasp basic concepts, that I'm slow like a snail, and that I am frustrating the living daylights out of her, that I am frankly like watching paint dry upon gazing at all of my lack of work ethic. Hey. When I was told this, I was like, this information. I cannot go and speak for myself to the boss dude and say, I heard that this chick thinks I ain't jack. Because then that's going to be like, who's spreading all this office gossip? How did this boss guy, the coder guy, and the business analyst find out that this is what's going on? Because this chick was so brazen and so arrogant that she said these things in a meeting while the business analyst and the developer were there. She basically gave feedback to her boss about how I'm performing in front of these two people in a meeting and reviled my name and expected them to keep mum and just take it. She would say these things in front of them, and the boss dude would then go back to the coder dude. Frankly, my contract was renewed because of these other two people, and be like, is this really true about Karabo? So this man was ambivalent. He was torn about me. So they kept on extending my contract, not making me permanent, because he was never certain who under heaven to listen to. When I happened upon this air battle, and the way that this woman, when she was with me, hey, as it duplicitous, double stand, like two-faced. She was like, oh, Karabo, I'm training you up. I'm proud of you. Wow, well done. Thank you. Yeah. And then she would go to the boss and be like, yo, she can't even walk the way Lomuntu as slow ngakon. Where, oh, yo. I got reviled like no man's business by this female, and it caused me to just take in my stride voluntary retrenchment, even though I was moved to another department in this company. When MTN offered me that administrator job, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm leaving, I'm going. I can't be somewhere where somebody is literally actively sabotaging me. This chick was already trusted. She was loved in the company, and she reviled my name. Like, she was, so when I walked into the door, competition, and she was like, I'm gonna eliminate her. We were all young and upcoming young professionals, right? We were all more or less the same age. Like 24, 25, all of us. And this chick was like, but I was, however, among the only black girls or black women in that space. So she opened a fellow black, potentially successful woman. And she was like, you're gonna go. Yo, one kulmela manga, this person. But somebody, other people decided to be honest with me. So what I'm trying to explain to you guys is that fear not sabotage. And fear not reviling, because even when you start to get treated some kind of way funny, because somebody's out just speaking smack about you in meetings, there's gonna be somebody that's gonna out you, be loyal to you at the expense of that person, shocking that person. That chick did not expect the boss guy coder and the senior business analyst to take my side. She did not expect that. She did not expect that they would find her acts abominable. She did not expect that. She thoroughly did not expect that they would find them so abominable, those acts, that they would tell on her. So all the way up until I left Kijima, that chick never knew that I knew. I never made it clear that I just took voluntary retrenchment, retrenchment, right? That's what it's called. Moved to another department and then left that department too for MTN. I just left. Like I allowed myself to leave. I very potentially might have stayed if still people had confidence in me. But who works with a team of bosses that when you do a PowerPoint presentation thoroughly think you stole that work from somewhere? Like who? I mean, when you're set up for that kind of failure, just go. And so I went to MTN. I don't know what would have happened, Kokijima, if I had stayed. I would have stayed a project manager. I would have never had to demote. I would never ever. But then I was just like, as in, So I left, and then MTN made me twist in the wind for 2 years. But yeah, what I'm trying to explain is that they're everywhere. I'm a saboteurs. They're everywhere. They are everywhere. But do not fear them. Do not fear saboteurs. They're everywhere. And even when your eyes are closed and ears shut to what's being done to you, every so often somebody sober is going to let you know why somebody's treating you differently all of a sudden. Why the smiley, chummy Pete is no longer smiley and chummy. You will understand that Pete is no longer chummy because Gachus was lying about you. And the Lord will then open an avenue for you to get out of that through like a bit of an MTN. You can make a decision to stay, but your name has been reviled in this place. You can choose to go. I chose to go, but then MTN twisted me in the wind for 2 years, and then finally I became a project manager again. So if anybody knows a peak and a flow, a trough, a rise and a fall, just always doing waves with a career, like up, down, up, down. I know. I took a demotion because I was out here being reviled. But do not be scared of those who speak smack against you, because every so often you're going to have people be prepared to share the gory details of how you're being sabotaged. God always puts people in the right places that you might not be left out on a limb and super crazy confused when certain things happen. But all that stuff ultimately works out for your good. All things work out together for the good of them who love the Lord and are called according to his purposes. I eventually skyrocketed, got to where I needed to get, the nth of my degree, the very pinnacle of, not degree, but a career. The pinnacle of it was where I was a program manager, having been put there by someone that came in day before yesterday, saw what I can do and was like, I want you to run the program. I was a project manager for only 2 years. At least officially at MTN. Not 2, 3. I was a project manager for 3 years at MTN in an official space, right? All along, I had been shadowing other PMs. I had previous 1 year experience in project management. So my total project management experience was only 4 years. And with 4 years complete total project management experience, I was promoted to program manager, or at least awarded an opportunity to be promoted by someone that came in 2 seconds ago. My existing boss would have never given me that opportunity. It had to be someone that got put in that position from outside. That's how I've always ranked up. That's how I've always leveled up. God has always brought someone else, and how I have succeeded to basically overcome reviling of my person, basically sabotage of my person, has always been through somebody deciding to tell me what's actually truly happening on the ground. I found out that Pete was passing me shade because Kagiso was lying. I found out that my boss, even though she gave me a bad appraisal, there are other people that sing praises of me from Eben. Eben is the one that decided to tell me rather what is the true story. So God will always bring an encourager along, or one who will let you know why something is going on. God will always tell you when Pete is being lied to, and God will also always tell you when, even though your boss refuses to acknowledge that you are good, there are others that see you. That'll keep you going. That is going to be the thing that is going to be the thing that keeps you going. Therefore, guys, when you get sabotaged to the point, because the thing about saboteurs, right? When you keep on rising anyway, coming back up for air again, like, recovering when you fall, that's when they go to the nth degree of really below the belt sabotage, and they just get rid of you. They get rid of you. That's what eventually happened with me at MTN. So the other boss could not thwart me, got given promotion as a program manager, and then like an entire saboteur of Daniel in the Lion's Den type saboteurs made a decision that I need to just lose my job altogether and be put in a Lion's Den to die. Yeah. When you keep on rising again, that's when they will trip you up on an athletics patch and then run 10 laps around you, saying that this time around, this time around, you're not going to rise. This time around, you're not going to pick up from where you left off. This time around, there's not going to be an Eben telling you that you're actually really great. And there are people who see that. This time around, there's not going to be a developer dude with a business analyst telling you that, but that's why they're gossiping you, girl. And she's speaking smack about you. That's why the person who is in a position to approve your permanent employment in this company, now that can't even look you in the face, can't even greet you when you walk by. That's why this is happening. That's why under heaven, this is happening. You will keep on experiencing these sabotagey experiences until you get crushed underfoot to a point of so much loss, that now what's the point? Like they get below the belt, guys. Like their sabotage gets to the point where if you keep on rising anyway, now they're going to want to finish you off. Now they're going to say, this time she's not gonna rise. This time there won't be an Eben. This time there won't be a Koda Hadnock guy telling her the truth. This time so big and lean. This time she's gonna sit at home. No one is gonna see her. And then they invest in things like witchcraft, and then physical reviling, physical sabotage, lying, false witness, against you, trumping up charges against you guys. The abuse on the body of Christ is astronomical and corporate. Like I never imagined I was ever going to go back to corporate South Africa because of what happened to me at first. Because the thing that's happening to me, it's happening to like Christians littered across the board. Like it's just we're being sabotaged. Like sabu touch. What's about Elia Fet Albert? Sabotage, that they might elevate themselves. It's a Daniel in the lion's den type scenario, gawking at you. But even in the instance of Daniel in the lion's den, never forget that when Daniel was thrown in the lion's den, the main head honcho dude Darius didn't want him there, and he was frankly rooting for Darius to come out. Similarly to Nami, the CEO of MTN SA at the time, was like Darius. He did not want me discarded. But these satraps and administrators got a sister fired. Do you understand? From her job, even though I was completely innocent, my hands were pure. That's what went down. And also, in the case of just sabotage and there will always be those who are happy to root for you. Those who are happy to tell the truth. People who essentially just look at a situation that is obviously unfair and wag their heads on some, but why is this even okay? And for as long as there are people who say, but why is this even okay? There is hope for you. There is hope. There was somebody rooting for you to get out of that lion's den alive and well. Darius, his hands were tied. And so all that he could do was root for Daniel. And Daniel was okay in the end. The satraps and administrators were, however, thrown in that situation. There will always be a person willing to stand for you. Like in my family, I got ignored for an entire decade until somebody was like, what nonsense is this? And they helped me along. There will always be someone in a group of people that will never do anything right by you, that will do right by you, re-establish you where it is that you had fallen. There will be somebody that will be happy to help you put on your sneakers again after somebody ripped them right off your feet, that you might continue to run. God will always place them in the right opportune time. But in the time when you are out like a light, you cannot walk away from God. You can't abandon faith. And you also cannot, upon being recovered, imagine that you're going to start strolling now instead of running. You put in the time back in the day. You worked hard. People saw. Others didn't care, however. They sabotaged you and were happy to commit abominations in broad daylight. They were left in a season, handed over to their reprobate mind. But when you do finally recover as Daniel in the lion's den, when you get given an opportunity again, which is really the heart or the gist of this particular message, what I am trying to deliver forward is what God does when you are made to start again, either from scratch or not where it is that you would have been had you not been sabotaged. That's when the Christian is most flattened. That's when the believer is most out of it. Like you are most discouraged. You are so discouraged, and you also have got so many wounds. You're so hurt and you have been so badly sabotaged. You've got so much post-traumatic stress that you literally will wear I don't want to trigger them again. Like, this hurts too much. I'm going to heaven when I die, so really that's all I need right now. To live as Christ, but to die is gain. But I'm never going to try hard for the earth again. You will literally say, I'm never going to try hard again for the earth. Okay, I'm out of my car now because it's getting dark again. Just the fact that it gets dark on me is really problematic. Anyway, let me hope to finish this conversation. Now, yes, I was saying, do not fret and do not front at strange activity that happens on the periphery, imagining that you're in a dead end zone. God knows where He has placed you, and you must just trust that situation. Now, in terms of those who sabotage all the way to the nth degree, where it is that they witnessed, right? They observed how how quickly you grew and how it is that you kept on defying the narrative. In other words, you basically shot past their attempts to sabotage you. You prospered despite their attempts to sabotage you. That's when they get so below the belt that they're prepared to literally pull the rug from underneath your feet to the point of career loss, like to the point of booting you out of a situation altogether. Like the kind of situation that is similar to that of Daniel in the lion's den. That situation, when you are in it, when you come up out of it, this is what I'm trying to encourage concerning now. When the Lord takes you out of the den as Daniel, sometimes you have to start either from scratch or not quite where you were last time, some kind of regression. Earlier I spoke about it being like a muscular dystrophy. You have fallen while you were running track. While you were running a race, you fell. And people ran 10 laps around you. In my particular life, it's been 10 laps, where each lap representing a year. And so when you stand up, you're going to be tempted to sit or walk. You are not going to want to run. You are going to and I'm speaking for myself now. Like, you will tell yourself that, like, just out of PTSD and fear of what people have done to you before, you will start to say stuff like, look, okay, like, I'm Christian and I'm going to heaven. This world is not my own. This world is fleeting, it's passing away. And if at all it's going to be this hard to succeed in it, if it's going to be this hard to do well, like proper, insofar as me, I've got bread on my table. Insofar as me, I've got petrol in my car. Insofar as me, you get my point. Insofar as my baby got formula, like, really, that's enough. Whatever it is that I am in as a situation, I'm content. But I'm not going to cause or leave opportunity for these people to rip the carpet from underneath my feet again. I'm not going to fluff my peacock feathers like I did before, because that's going to get me hurt. A lot of times what inspires, like laziness in people is, unbeknownst to themselves, PTSD. Sometimes people are made lazy by post-traumatic stress, guys. And by that, I mean they are made to second guess what they are to do in Christ, because they imagine that there is no way that God would have ever let them fall apart, only for them to be recovered so many years down the line, and for them to then still pretty much try on their dreams again, for them to try on their goals again, and so therefore endure the same pain on a loop, a cycle again. Like, before people sabotage you to the point of career loss, they tend to have tried to sabotage you to the point of career thwarting. Like, in other words, they will have actively tried to prevent promotions, actively lied about you in appraisals, given you bad appraisal scores. You will have been able to still maintain your job, but just really restricted, like really thwarted. Do you understand? Until it gets to a point where, because you keep on bouncing back, they not just boot you out altogether. You're going to have fear, post-traumatic stress fear of, Hebatung, if I still strive like I strove before, I will yet again have more sabotage. I will yet again have more thwarting. I will have yet again more below the belt attempts and making sure that I don't get anywhere. They will keep on trying to freeze me. And so instead of losing a career again, because the trauma of having been unemployed for as long as you were will be such that you will do everything in your power to not ever lose a job again, just insofar as you have enough, you will be tempted to not even fluff your feathers. How can I describe this? It's like, for instance, with women, this folly of thinking that in order to make men be content to stay with you and maybe even propose marriage to you, you have to dumb yourself down. In other words, be all ditzy and be this like girly girl that can't really use your own mind, even though you're like a whole theoretical physicist. And thinking that going on a date with a dude, you have to completely hide that part of you. On that day, you're marrying a man that does not know the other side of you. And at some point, that other side of you is going to pop out like buttons popping off a shirt because it's too tight on a muscular man. At some point, the true you is going to come out. This man is going to find the true you, and because it's not what he signed up for, it's just going to result in like bad eggs later on in the relationship. You might even get divorced. So you are better off just putting your best foot forward, what it is that you are in its comprehensiveness, completely and entirely who it is that you are, that when this man makes a decision to stick around with you, he does that making an informed decision. Do you understand? Do not assume that every man hates a strong woman. Do not assume that every man wants his lady dumb and unable to do anything but cook in the kitchen. Similarly too, you will be imagined that in order for you to maintain a career or maintain a job, not get fired again, you have to now simmer yourself down. You can't be as good as you used to be before. because now you got a baby. Now you got like, so much fear of being evicted from your apartment again. You've got all that post-traumatic stress of all your furniture being strewn on the street because your landlord threw it out because you got kicked out of a house due to the fact that you couldn't afford to pay rent anymore, and just the trauma of having endured that once. Like you literally, when you look at a colleague manifesting jealousy to a point of sabotage, you will then have the PTSD of your furniture being on the street because you lost a job one time due to continuing to fluff your feathers, and they sabotaged you to the point of loss of career. And just so you can avoid ever having that situation unfold again, you will then literally do just enough. Rock up, hello, bye. What's habari colleague? Hello, bye. Don't raise your voice or highlight an issue. Hello, bye. Not recommend. Hello, bye. Not create. Hello, bye. Not be the best version of yourself. And therefore be unintimidating to anybody. Proper. That's a whole thing. The reason why I am saying this is because literally those have been my plans. That's been stuff that's been going on in my mind. Like, I got so sabotaged and so bullied, and ultimately to the point of career loss. And I've got so much traumatic stress, post-traumatic stress from losing stuff, losing apartments, being put on the credit bureau, my car, not being able to service it, my license just expiring, just basically a life of unemployment, suffering so much want that once ngaba restored to, when I get restored to being able to service my car on time, renew my license disc, renew my driver's license, basically pay for my way again, it's gonna be such a traumatizing prospect for me to essentially stand on my talents and my girth in the future, in the presence or climate of jealous colleagues that could then sabotage me to a point of losing again. And guys, this time I was pushed to the precipice of even suicide by this 10-year cycle of insanity. Do you understand? And for me to go back to that level of melancholy and depression again, it's just so daunting that I thoroughly, literally, these were thoughts going on in my mind last night as I lay in bed. I was thinking, this time around, I'm just going to hunker down and do enough. I'm going to do just enough, because at the end of the day, the rapture is happening. At the end of the day, the tribulation is coming. At the end of the day, this is not my home, this earth. At the end of the day, I am going to be in heaven forever, where there's no jealousy, there's no issues, there's no sabotage, there's no Daniel in the lion's den in heaven. And while I wait to go there, at least I will be able to buy groceries. I'll be able to pay for rent in an apartment. I will be able to maintain my life. I'll be able to buy basic things and renew my license disc and my driver's license. I'm going to have my own. I'm going to be able to pay my debts. Like, that's it. So, I'm not going to push. I'm just going to do enough. I even said to myself that I cannot like, I won't care anymore about basically... I told myself that I'm not going to care anymore about the quality of delivery of whatever work that I do. Not so much quality, but guys, there are so many people in this world that get by in their 9-to-5s doing literally such mediocre work. Like, they do just enough and they get monthly salaries. They come in every day, they go home every evening, and they raise their kids. They get old and they retire, and they were just like flatlined dog. Like, they were just in the center of the normal distribution. They were just ordinary. They were normal. They were just normal. They didn't do more. They didn't do less. They did enough. They rocked up. They were on time at work every day at 8 and at 5 p.m. sharp. They knocked off. People that you would never see putting in more hours. People that you would never see earlier than absolutely necessary. They did just enough. They pitched that work and they went home for 50 years until they retired. Like, I've seen them in every company that I've ever worked at. I've seen people like that who just merely come and go, wrote mundane every single day. And it's the same thing. They don't cause any alarms around themselves. They don't bring any attention to themselves. They just do enough. They are people are just satisfied with them. That's it. Like, they get, if at all, an appraisal a sheet is from 1 to 5, they're always getting 2.5. Like, it's always just 2.5, just enough to get 5% salary increase every year. Just enough. Yeah, I've seen people like those come and go, and I always used to look at them on some, how is this enough? Like, how is this enough for you? Like, why are you okay being a receptionist for 5 years, girl? Like, 5 years you're on reception, 5 years, go fair, or go reception. How's that even okay? You're a good receptionist. You transfer calls. You are, you're good at what you do. You do just enough. And trust, lo and behold, indeed, at exactly 5 p.m., you're logging off. At exactly 8 p.m., you're logging on. You do no more, no less, just enough. I've always just looked at them with pity on some shame. If only you knew what it meant for the sky to be the limit, right? And I was thoroughly out here thinking about being Mam Doreen at reception. I was thoroughly thinking about being Usis Doreen Mina at reception. That's been a receptionist since she was 18, and now she's 45, and she's still out here in the same job, getting 5% salary increases every year. Le bonus at Christmas. I thoroughly thought about being Sistoris, guys. I did. Mabane, I was so traumatized by what happened to me throughout my career. What happened to me at MTN was a culmination of events across multiple companies. And it caused me to eventually lose an entire career. Do you understand what I'm saying? Until I was so poor that I couldn't renew my my driver's license for a decade. That I lost my apartments. That I couldn't afford basic things like tampons. That I out here literally was thoroughly trying to be Sis Doris, a reception. Oplomera 20 years young. She's a log. I wanted to be that. Just so I could be okay. Why? Because I trust the rapture to happen. Hey.
Okay, I'm here again. It appears every single day I have the exact same strategy now. Anyway, let me just keep my voice to a minimum. Like, thanks to my door being open like this, my battery is dead in the car. It has to be boosted. Anyway, whatever. Again, such things as these, like, I won't have to have a problem with them in the future anymore. Like, holding on to a car battery that keeps on flopping if the car's chilling for like 3 days, 4 days, and then the car just dies. Like, not being able to change it up, and you constantly using other people's vehicles in order to restart your car, you constantly traveling around in the back of your vehicle with a scoop usa petrol. Like, I remember the first time I used a petrol scoop, the garage attendant guy said a woman should never ever have a scoop se petrol le motwen because she should never ever get to a point where she needs one. He was like, a woman should never ever have a can for petrol a portable can for petrol, because a woman should never ever get to the point where she's got such little gas in her car that it could get stuck. Like, the first time I ever got a scoop, sa 5 liter, was in the season of persecution, because I started driving around with reserves in my vehicle. Like, when you've got that level of post-traumatic stress, where it is that you remember the days of carrying a scoop, remember the days of getting stuck, having nothing but $50 to fill up a car to get it to at least your house, the days of a car flatting, like a tire flatting, and not being able to buy a new tire, and driving around for months on end with a biscuit tire. Like, you will remember such things as those, and be, as a result of that trauma, unwilling to ever get in that situation again. Like, end up fearing unemployment so much that you will literally be a wallflower, sitting around in a company doing no more than what is absolutely necessary for your boss, that you might not get fired, however not more, so as to aggravate potentially jealous colleagues, not to make out of you Daniel in the lion's den, and then lose a job again, and then go back to scoop se petrol in the back of your car. You will literally tell yourself ukuthi uzoqina wena umam Doris just breaking even every single year in the company. All you do is just enough. Clock in 8 o'clock. You are never late. However, you take lunch on time. You are back, like, signing into your computer on time. You log 5 p.m. batong Mam Doris, this metaphoric character that I'm speaking about right now by the name of Mam Doris, does not do more than is absolutely necessary. Mam Dorisi does not burn the midnight oil. Mam Dorisi does not register a course at a university. She does not study part-time. Mam Dorisi does not take training more than is absolutely necessary on the job. Mam Dorisi does not ask the company for money to study. She does not apply for a study loan at work. Because why? Mam Dorisi does not work beyond 5 p.m. Like, Mam Dorisi's bag is already right next to her laptop, her computer, her PC at 4:45, because she knows that by 5, at 5, that's when she stands up. Mam Dorisi does just enough. Wonke loves Mam Dorisi. Nobody gives Mam Doris grief. Like, that's the thing. Mam Dorisi never ever has enemies in the company. She does not have anybody trying to sabotage her. She doesn't have anybody trying to pull the rug from underneath her feet. Everybody loves Mam Dorisi. Everybody buys Mam Dorisi the best little cute office presents on her birthday. Mam Dorisi never ever has a farewell party, but she's always organizing it, because she is the one that's always there to see everybody come and everybody go. She inducts everybody, and everybody goes in her grill, under her nose. She is trusted, and she never gets fired. When there are retrenchments happening, she is just held fast to, because she is just this structure, this log, this part of the furniture of the company that can be relied on to just never quit. She, helps with staff turnover, because she never quits, never does more than is absolutely necessary, and is trusted to be maintained. She knows every system that changes, because she's the first one when there's been a system upgrade. and she needs to now move over to a new system. That's the only training she attends. But the kind of training that you have to go to for your KPIs in order that you might grow on a professional track, it's not necessary for her. She does just enough. Like, she does induction, she does system change training, she does change management training, she does, what is this, regulation, like when the law changes in the country and the regulation affects your company, she does that, but like not more than that. Not more. That's Mam Doris. She just does enough. As a result, Mam Dorisi never gets grief. Everybody loves her. Everybody hugs her. Everybody buys her coffees. Everybody asks her how her children are doing. People are not competing with Mama Dorisi. She's going to age there. She's going to retire there. And when she retires, she's going to be content with the house that she has paid in full because she stayed there for 20 years, enough time for her to finish paying bond. Mam Dorisi has a house, go Pimville, Soweto, yatre bed, and proper. She's never going to lose it because she pays it. Ka 20 years. She does not pay her mortgage more payments per month than the normal ones because she's trying to fast track finishing off her bond. No, she's not that girl. She's just doing all that she needs to do to basically exist and then pass away. That's Mam Doris. She's the kind of woman to retire from her job in the house that she was living in for 20 years, 50 years. She's that lady. Does not bother nobody. I wanted to be Mam Dorisi, and the only reason I wanted to break even like Mam Dorisi was because of trauma. I thought, like last night, as I lay in my bed, I was saying to myself, I cannot taba anymore. I don't care anymore. Like, I'm just gonna do what is absolutely necessary. I'm gonna do enough such that my boss won't be upset with me. However, neither will she have cause to want to move me anywhere else. Like, guys, never mind that, but like jealousy, like guys, colleagues, hey, I have, like I said, what happened at MTN was a culmination of things that happened in the lives before, in the companies before, the environments that I was at before. I apologize for saying lives before like reincarnation. What I wanted to say was in the companies prior to that. I worked hard. I pushed myself. Like I said, Mam Dorisi does not put in extra time. You will not find Mam Dorisi at 7 p.m. in the office, literally trying to, seal loose ends, close deals, finish minutes, progress, a project plan, update it, finish a scope document, what is this, balance, a seal, what do you call this? You are not going to find Umam Dorisi essentially finishing something, so because she understands that if she does not finish it tonight, uzoba backlogged tomorrow. Mam Dorisi's work never is backlogged because it's that rudimentary, that basic, that foundational. She never has cause to stay late. She doesn't stick like, when I was a project manager, especially when we were going live, sometimes you would literally basically border on sleeping at work. Yeah, like just like on call. If at all you do go home with developers that they might as well bring sponges to sleep on at work because they can't leave while the whole system is now being, tested live. You properly burning the midnight oil, working well into the night with colleagues, going home at like 10:30 at night. Yeah, Mam Doris doesn't do that. Mam Doris does not know what it's like to still be in the office when the cleaning staff comes in because everybody's gone home, to deal with a ghostly company that's empty of staff because you're the only one at night and it's eerie and you feel like there's a ghost hovering. Mam Doris will never know what that's like. The people who do stuff like that are those that essentially have got these big dreams, these big ambitions, a particular type of character, personality set of a person that is ambitious, striving for whatever dreams they have. Trying to push deadlines, and is certainly determined to be out of that particular position in 2 years. They are not trying to stay in an admin role for 2 years, 3, 4, 5. They are not trying to be maintained in that. They every opportunity that opens that is for a promotion into a higher level, they are applying for it, whether or not they are considered naive and overly ambitious to apply for it. Nonetheless, they've got that kind of ambition. Yeah, Mam Doris is not that girl. She is literally not trying to go anywhere. She is comfortable and she is not threatening. As a result, she is barely harassed by any kind of corruption in an organization. Even the most nefarious of colleagues in that space that is two-faced, duplicitous, prepared to pull rugs from underneath everybody's feet will not look at Mam Doris with that eye. I wanted to be Doris. I literally said last night that I'm going to be Doris. I'm going to do enough because not only am I like a potential Doris, right? I am a Doris with a spiritual gifting, aware of the fact that we are literally at the end of the world. I am a Christian and I'm going to heaven. I am sojourning. I'm an alien in this place. Persecution is exorbitant. I've endured 10 years of poverty. I don't want it again. So really and truly, I'm just going to do the bare minimum, break even, not more, not less, not trying to make a profit, just breaking even. And then at the trumpet blast, I will be caught up to meet the Lord in the air, get an incorruptible body, and start to finally be who it is that I was supposed to be forever. Until the Lord clobbered me with comprehension that like a door turning on its hinges, so too does a lazy man turn on his bed. And that a little sleep and a little slumber and a little folding of the hands to rest and poverty will overwhelm you like a bandit and scarcity like an armed man, until Jesus Christ made it evident and clear that if you go and grab your talents and your skills and you bury not even one of them in the ground, I will consider you a slothful and a wicked servant. You are to steward those gifts. I did not put you on the earth to be a mere existent log that just rolls around on the spot when the wind is lofty enough. I did not pack you with what I packed you with, that you might fear man who can only kill the body and thereafter do nothing, but rather fear me. You have to encourage yourself, and not only that, you have to encourage anybody else that is in your shoes also, because you're not the only one. You're not the only person that has endured so much suffering, so much persecution, so much hurt, and so much indiscretion at the hands of people, that you would decide to be like a log that is merely in existence, swaying left to right with the wind, but doing no more.